Hi, welcome back to the VK Online Education Training course. The subject of this lesson is conditional judgment. Before judging the conditions of use, we must first have a basis for judgment. Usually we use flags or variables as conditional judgment. For example, we have a button called condition. There is a text label over there, then I will follow this flag whether it is on or off. Then we will change the contents of this text label. Suppose it is on now, then it will show power on. If it is off, then it will show power off. It is a simple logic concept. So how do we proceed? Next, we click the condition button that you see on the viewer. And then, you select the condition function on the below tab. On the second step we will see a lot of options available for us to choose. In which, the flag is used to do condition judgment for the flag. The variable is used to do condition judgment for the variable. How can we use it? For if conditional judgment, we can imagine it as if a flag is in a state now, that has its condition fulfilled. What should it do next? If you put an action, it will do the action. If not, it will continue to use else. Then if you want to have many different conditions in the same place, there is another one, called else if. You can add the first, second and third conditions in it. We will show you some example. Let's add the first, flag if. After adding it, I can focus on it and click on the conditions I want to judge. In the first part, I can choose which flag I'm going to judge. Then, we choose switch here and our conditional selection is on. The meaning is, at this time, if this state is on now, it will trigger the next action. Otherwise, the off state is doing another action. After this, the next thing we do is to change the text label. As we have mentioned earlier, we are using this function called change label. Let's change the content in the text label into this one. What needs special attention here is that, in this if condition, all our actions need to be performed using drag and drop. If I only use 2 clicks now, you will see that I added the change label function successfully. But, in fact, it is not included in this if conditional judgment. So, it is not covered by this if conditional judgment function. So, this is not the correct way to do it. If you do it this way, this button will always change the label into what we have set, without checking the condition. This is not what we want. Now, I will first delete this action. I want to remind you once again, that all of our condition actions are performed using drag and drop. Please remember, that I want to drag it onto the conditional expression of this if. In this way, you will see a line here. It means that the change label command is in this if. It's within the range of conditions. In other words, when the flag is equal to the on state, it will execute the change label. This action only trigger if this condition is met. Then, we change the parameters in the change label. As we mentioned earlier, we changed it to power on. Well, the next situation is if it is equal to off state. Because the flag we use here has only 2 states, on or off, so we come back to this condition again, and we just use the else instruction. The same with if flag. Flag else also needs to use drag and drop. We drag into this if. Then you will see that if and else are connected by a line. It means that under the else, the action will be executed. So, we can drop another action that we want to execute. Then, we also need to put a change label action into it. Okay, please remember that all our movements are done by dragging. And, the position I dragged and dropped, must be in the position I wanted to put the conditional place in. Next, I changed it to power off. Please remember that what we want to select is ID-based. So, we can choose according to this ID. So, the choice here is this ID2 label. OK, then we upload the program to the VK controller. After uploading, we open the Windows viewer. Next, we come to the actual implementation. First, I press on. Then, I press this condition button. At this time, you will see the text label on the right becomes Power On. Now, we are pressing off. Now, we press condition button again. The text label will now change into Power Off. This is the use of conditional judgment. The same reasoning is being used for the variable condition judgment. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson.